Yeah. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. This is like my second video I ever posted, so I look a hot mess, but this is just the beginning phases of where my chapter is headed, so don't judge me. Anyway, welcome back. We're gonna talk today about part two of what you ought to do in the wilderness. If you didn't watch part one, just a little backstory on part one. It was basically talking about the children of Israel, what they were doing in the wilderness and what they should have been doing, and kind of giving you some perspective on what you can do in the wilderness season. So we went back and did a history lesson, but I'm a very practical person. So this part two video is a little bit more detail about a wilderness that I just got out of. Matter of fact, it's a wilderness that I'm actually still sitting in real time. So if you ever have said, oh my God, the Bible just doesn't relate to me, I don't understand it, it's not in 2023. Listen, I am in 2023 and I'm about to bring you to a wilderness that I just experienced, that I'm still facing. So hindsight, let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about the definition of wilderness. Remember that a wilderness, the definition of a wilderness is a position of disfavor. Disfavor meaning dislike and disapproval. Another definition of a wilderness is an uncultivated, uninhabited, and inhospitable region. And we also know that breaking down inhospitable means a harsh and difficult place to live in. So something that just is not fun. So let me share a wilderness with you that just happened to me. So a couple days ago, I was on my way to a event. I told you guys that I have an event planning background. And so I was literally on my way to an event on Wednesday morning. I got up early to go to the gym. I like to go to the gym early before 7 o'clock. Usually between 6 and 7, I'm in the gym because that just helps me get focused. So I live an hour away from the gym. I made it all the way to the gym, worked out for a little bit. Because I'm a planner, my day, my time by the minute is organized and in a way that helps me cope and be a good person. So when I got out of the gym, I left the gym a little bit after 7 with the intention of getting to my venue at about 7:30. I was 8 minutes away. Perfect. Life is going great. So even though I got perfectly to my destination to the gym, the 8-minute distance from the gym to the venue is when my car decided that, no, girl, we're not going today. I've had enough of you. So I'm on a very busy street that's typically very busy. And when I'm the first person at this red light and the light turns green and your girl is stuck, like my foot is all the way on the floor on the gas. My car is not accelerating. Nothing is happening in my life. So I was a little disturbed by that because I had somewhere to go. And at this point, I'm always early. So I wasn't late for my destination, but I like to be early for things. So it's getting around the time I should be pulling up, parking. I have centerpieces in my car, I have thank you cards, I have a whole situation. I'm meeting some decor there. Like I have a whole day planned. But as I sit on this busy street and my car is not moving, when I say not moving, it is not moving. Like it's not accelerating. It is not doing anything. So I'm freaked out in my business attire, my business casual for this event that I'm about to head into. So my car has been acting stupid anyway. It's a whole nother conversation. So my husband was like, hey, make sure you always have your car battery charger situation. So I pull that out in my little business attire on the side of this busy intersection. Because remember, I couldn't move my car. So I'm the first person in front of the light with my emergency lights on, just like go around me, y'all. I'm having a morning. So I put my emergency lights on. I use my little charger to charge my battery, charge the battery. Cool. I get in the car, turn it on, it starts, it doesn't move. So I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, this is a very busy intersection that I'm on. And typically it's really, really, really busy in the morning. But because I was on this street so early, it was not busy. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I'm thinking there's something going on with the key battery, right? So my key fob has been saying like battery low, but you see the signs, you don't never get another battery. That's the type of person that I am. I just go until I can't go no more. And this day, God was like, you know what? Let's shut this down right now. So I literally am stuck. I can't go forward. I can't go backwards. I can't accelerate. My battery dies. The car just dies. So it's super early. My husband goes to work later on in the morning, like late morning. So I call my husband. I'm like, hey, I need you to bring me your set of keys because the key fob battery has died and my car is just not just not computing. I don't know if it thinks the car is stolen. Either way, I need you to come save my life. Like, I'm damsel in distress, right? So my husband's like, cool, I'm just left the house. I'm an hour away, but I'll come by there on my way. And then you can take my keys and go on with your life. I'm like, cool. So meanwhile, I'm just sitting in my car, trying to just apologize to people as they go around me. It's the morning time, so it's not busy yet, but in a couple more minutes, it's going to be busy. So I'm starting to freak out a little bit. So I decide to try and turn my car on. So I was able to charge it again and turn it on. And I decide to reverse it. And luckily there's nobody behind me, so I can reverse it into a parking lot behind me. So I back it in reverse. It's cooperating to go in reverse, but not forward. So I get the car all the way almost to the entry of this parking lot. So I'm like, cool. As long as I'm not on this busy intersection, people can go on and go to work and do their life, because I understand what it's like to have places to be. So everything is cool. So this is like 7:20 when all this is happening. I had to be at the venue at 8 o'clock. I'm like, my husband has to be, it's going to take him an hour. So I'm probably going to be late. So in the car, I'm like, hey, I'm talking to people, like, I'm going to be late. Just do the things that we talked about, because I'm probably going to get there right at 8:30. Like, I'm not going to be able to help set up. Like, you're going to have to just take this train without me, but I'm coming. I got the centerpieces in my truck. As soon as my husband comes bring the keys, not a problem. Cool. So that was what I said in my head, right? And I'm not in the traffic now. So I'm okay. I'm not in a dangerous situation. So my husband gets there. He gets there like right at 8:30. So I've missed all the setup for my event. But it's 8:30. Honestly, it's fine. I had a meeting to go to before the event. The event really didn't start until 10:45. So I missed the meeting. I'm still okay because I can zoom in on the meeting, right? Everything's fine. So my husband gets there. He's like, hey, take my keys and keep going. So we switch keys. Problem, it's not the keys, because now we switch keys and it's still not working. It's still not accelerating. At this point, it's not, I told you I was able to get up the hill to go in reverse into this parking lot. Well, now it's not even getting all the way up the hill. And now it's like literally blocking the entry to the parking lot that I'm in. So that's a problem. And also the car is not starting anymore. So my husband has his truck. He pulls it over to my car. We're charging each other's batteries or whatever, all the cords and what do you call those things? Cables, and we're just doing all kinds of things. Also, we're on YouTube scrolling and Googling. I got this weird car signal icon on my dashboard that I've never seen. So trying to Google that. I'm pulling out the manuals. Me and my husband doing all things. So I'm still sitting out there, 8:30, 9:30. Finally, my husband has to be at work at 9:50. So closer to 9:30, he's like, you know what? I'm going to call out because I don't know what to do. And I just don't know what to do. And I'm like, you're right. Like, we need some help. Like, I can't take your truck because I can't trust that you can take my car and go on, and I can't leave you and you can't leave me. So, okay, it is what it is. So my husband called out of work. First time he's ever done that. He's never called out of work before, but it was a dire situation. I hop on the Zoom so I can get into my meeting, which was actually a board meeting, FYI. So I'm in my husband's truck on the Zoom, trying to get into the board meeting and still be present, because I've never missed a board meeting and I've never missed an event for this particular organization. So it's a big deal. So I'm trying to just gather myself, and my husband is out there, bless his heart, he's sweating to death. He's done all kinds of things. We're trying to push it and start it and go and put in neutral and all these things while I have all the supplies for the party in my truck. So I'm communicating to the people that are there present without me to say, hey, y'all, I need y'all to get this boat going without me. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. We may have to tow this car. Like, it's getting late. I'm getting hot. It's just a lot. So luckily I had someone I was working with and been training with all the way up until this point. So she had the necessary tools to kind of keep it moving. I had another person who helped with some decorations who was going to meet me there, who I told, like, look, I'm not going to make it. Just do what you do. So she was able to set it up. So the show moved on. Okay. So, but I'm out there. It's hot. I don't like being hot. I'm in a whole like business casual. I got on a whole blazer and everything. And I think to myself, this right here is a wilderness. Okay. This is a wilderness. It is a middle from somewhere that I was leaving to a place where I was trying to go and I didn't get there. I'm in a real life wilderness on the side of this road with my husband, who usually can fix any problem and handle anything. But even this one has him for a loop. And that is a big thing because he can YouTube anything and figure out any kind of problem. So both of us are in a wilderness together. And I told you, what is a wilderness? A wilderness is a position of disfavor. I have a disfavor for having car trouble on the side of the road when I have somewhere to be. Not only do I have somewhere to be, people are counting on me. I have a responsibility. I have centerpieces and equipment in my truck that desperately need to get to this destination. So yeah, this might sound a little dramatic, but listen, it's a wilderness to me because this is a middle of somewhere that I'm trying to get to better and I can't do it. It's difficult to live in. It's hot outside. It's the morning. My husband's had to call out of work. I want to go home. I just want my car to start. I don't know what's going on. Also, let me tell you a little story about my truck as well. I keep interchanging car and truck. It's a Pathfinder, but whatever. The day before, I had left my car at the airport for a couple days and I had to pay $300 to get it out of the parking spot. That's a whole nother story for another day. So just the previous day, I had just spent $300 being able to get my car out of the parking spot. And today, now this thing ain't working. And I'm just like, come on now. First of all, we're not spending any more money on this truck. Like, that's number one. So I don't know what we have to do, but there's no way that I'm putting any more money in this truck. I just paid $300 to get it to where it is today. And now the very next day, you telling me that it's not working and there's not even a reason. When I tell y'all these little icons on my dashboard are things I had never seen in my life, I had to pull my manual out to see what any of this stuff meant. I had no idea. So yeah, this is a wilderness. This is a position of dislike and disapproval. I am in the middle of a wilderness and I do not enjoy it. Now, let me just back up and say that everybody has a wilderness. It is a season of something that is uncomfortable and something that is harsh and difficult to manage. And yes, having car trouble is not a physical location of a wilderness, but let me tell you something. It sucks really, really bad, okay? When you have somewhere to be and you can't get there, listen, that qualifies as a wilderness to me. Was it harsh? Yes. Was it hot? Yes. Was it a position of disfavor? Yes. Was it something that I disapproved of and I disliked? Yes, it was. It was an inhospitable region. I was on the side of the road with my husband with a car that wouldn't start that I had just spent $300 on the previous day. So go back to the story. At this point, it's got to be like 10:30. We're sitting out there. This event's about to start. I've already decided I'm not going to make the event. We decide, let's just tow this bad boy and go home. So I have, which is so crazy, I have roadside assistance through AT&T. I've had it for years. I forgot I had it. So I called to get that done, get that process going. I've never used AT&T roadside assistance. Who knew? Who knew I was paying for that for the last 7 years? I have no idea. But finally, it's time to use this. So I pull that out and they're like, yeah, we can come get the truck for you and tow it to your house. But it's going to be $148.50. What? Ain't happening. Now, I told y'all before, I just spent $300 previously to even get the car. And today you're telling me that I have to spend $148.50 just to get it from this place to that place? Nope, not happening. So that was ruled out. So I said, you know what, Dante, like, as my husband, I said, hey, we're going to have to do something because I don't have the money to do that. Like, I refuse to put any money in this car. Just something happening. So my husband is like, hey, I think it's the battery. So let's go get a key fob battery replacement. And luckily I was at Batteries Plus, like 10 minutes away. So we went to Batteries Plus. I got a new battery key fob and went back to my truck, and tried to restart it. Because at this point, we're thinking that maybe the big battery is dead, but also the key fob is impacting not starting it as well. Because maybe the car thinks that it's stolen. Okay, cool. So we tried that, got a new battery for the key fob. It's still not going anywhere. So now we're at like 11:30, almost 12 o'clock. By this time, your girl has busted out of that blazer. Like, I have decided that I'm not making this event. I've already apologized to everybody that didn't expect me to be there. This particular event was a induction ceremony for the new board of directors, which I'm a part of. So when they did that ceremony, your girl was on a FaceTime just with my face, like while people were clapping for me because I couldn't walk to the stage because I'm on the side of the road, 8 minutes away from where I'm supposed to be, by the way. And yeah, it was a wilderness for sure. By middle of the day, at this point, your girl is done. When I say I'm done with this truck, I am done with it. So I say, you know what? Let's go home. Like, I don't even want to look at this. We are not getting anywhere. I just want to go home. So I go into the place, the facility where I'm parked, the parking lot, and I say, hey, I know you don't know me. I've had a long day. I've been in front of your store since 7:20 this morning. If you would just let me leave this car here, I will come back at another time and figure it out because honestly, I just want to go home. I don't have a plan for it. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this moment, I am sick of looking at this car and I'm also sick of being in front of your facility. Do you mind if I leave this car here? And the lady was like, no problem. And I think I was near tears and she just felt so sorry for me that she let me leave my truck there. So me and my husband, we got in his truck. We went and got our kids early from camp and we went home. And I went home and took a nap. I think I took a 3-hour nap because I was just over it. That is a wilderness. It is a unhospitable situation. It was not fun for me. It was not. It was not fun. I did not enjoy it and it sucked really bad. But there's a silver lining in that. And we talk about wilderness, and my last previous video was what you ought to do in a wilderness. So when I was in that wilderness, while I was sitting in that truck, so angry and so frustrated, I remember thinking to myself, this is a wilderness. What can you do right now? So while my husband was in my truck trying to fix it, I started talking to God about this wilderness that I was in. And while I spent a good three hours maybe complaining about the wilderness, at some point a light clicked on and I said, this is a wilderness, but you can see some beauty in here. I want you to think about the good things about today. So I started listing those things. Thing number one, I am such an early person that this particular area of the street that I was stuck at was not busy and highly populated like normal. And because I was there so early, I was able to reverse my truck out of that intersection because I told y'all I was the first car at the light. So had it been a very busy part of the day, maybe even an hour later, if I had showed up in that same position an hour later, I would have been cussed out like by everybody, right? Even though I had my emergency lights on, it could have been a whole vibe. So even though I was in the wilderness, one thing, perception and perspective is everything. So the first thing I thought was, God, thank you so much for letting me be in this wilderness at this time of day because it was no traffic. I was able to reverse back into this parking lot. That's number one. I'm in a wilderness, but I see some beauty in it. And that was the first thing I noticed. The next thing is that where my car was positioned, I was able to reverse into a parking lot. I could have been on the side of the road. Like I could have been on the interstate. I could have been between the two cities that I was driving from. I could have been far away where there was just like deer and grass and trees because I live pretty far away. So even though I was in the wilderness, another thing I noticed was, thank you, Heavenly Father, that I was positioned in a place, even though my car wasn't working, that I had enough energy, enough battery charged to put it in that parking lot so that I'm not disrupting traffic in the morning because I knew that was coming. I was in the wilderness, but I was looking for something better, looking for the beauty in it, right? Number 3, my husband works at the time that he works is very late in the day, and he had already left the house and he was already able to come and head to me and still make it to work. Now, eventually he didn't go to work, but the beauty of that is he could have been stuck at work and would have had to leave work to come get me. But he had just left the house and just made it in enough time to still come and get me. That's a beauty in the wilderness because he could have been already working. And I don't have a backup husband. Like who else would have came and got me, right? So imagine him working and then having to leave work and come save me. That could have been a whole situation. So I was grateful for my husband at that moment. I said, God, I'm in a wilderness, but I'm so thankful that somebody can come and get me in this wilderness and help me because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a very hands-on equipment mechanical person. So I thank God for my husband at that time. I also thank God for my husband because he's somebody that always wants to figure something out, and he saves me all the time, and I think that's he's just used to me being in calamities and he just always comes. So a wilderness situation, I'm in a bad situation, but I'm thinking, thank you, Heavenly Father, that I had someone to call that could help me. Thank you for that, right? Wilderness, the situation still sucks. I'm still very unhappy that I'm on the side of the road. But in that car, I already have a list of 3 things that I'm thankful for, right? The next thing I'm thankful for, I'm in the wilderness, but I'm thankful for YouTube because we watch all kind of YouTube videos on what this signal meant. I'm thankful that I had my Nissan car manual so I could look up the signal and then put that signal into the internet so I could see what's going on and try to get a YouTube situation to help me understand what's going on. The thing with the key fob and getting another battery and all that, we figured that out on YouTube. That was in the wilderness, but it was a blessing in the wilderness. Another blessing in the wilderness, the things that perceptions, everything. We were a couple minutes away from a battery store. All I had to do was go get another battery. We thought that was the problem, and it wasn't. But we were so close to a battery store that we were able to leave the truck, go get a battery, and come back. Blessing in the wilderness. Another blessing. The place where I was parked was actually like part of the metro schools. So it was kind of like a public metro like school situation. So when I went into that place and told her that I was going to leave my car, she could have told me no. She could have said, no, you got to get this car up out of here. You can't just leave a car here. She could have said, hey, you're going to have to tow it or we're going to tow it. She could have said that. I didn't give that lady my name. I didn't give her my phone number. I just left the car. I literally left the car and went home and took a nap because I was mentally exhausted. Wilderness situation. The beauty in that is that lady said, don't worry about it. We'll make sure it's there. Just let me know the name of the car that you have. And I told her what it was, and I drove away into the sunset. Fast forward a little bit, I didn't go back to get that car till 2 days later. And when I came back to get that car 2 days later, it was still there. Somebody could have stole that car. It could have been towed. She could have not kept her word, and it could have been windows busted out. Somebody could have took the stuff out of it. It wasn't in it, but wilderness. Blessing in the wilderness. All those things came to my mind about that situation. Did I miss the event? Yes. Was I able to get on a Zoom? Yes, I was. Did I already have people prepared to do the event in the event that I wasn't there? I sure did. Wilderness, blessing in the wilderness. Did that event go successfully without me? Absolutely. In a way, was I already kind of prepared for it in case I couldn't make it? Yes. Did I already have somebody who was training to do the event in case I wasn't there? Yes. Was she there? Yes. Did she do a great job? Yes. People sent me pictures of how beautiful the event was without me there. Blessing in the wilderness. So that's a little extreme example, but everybody has a wilderness. You all have something that absolutely sucks, a position of disfavor. We have positions of disfavor all the time. But what matters in those positions of disfavor is how you handle those moments and what are you looking for? Are you complaining about it? Yes, I complained for a good 2 hours to God, upset about why he had me on the side of the road. But when I started sitting out there, and by the time I made a list of all the things that I was thankful for, I was practically crying in that car and saying, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for this wilderness because you got me out of it. It wasn't what I had planned for the day, but I still was able to make it home safely. I'm not on the side of the road and life went on without me. Thank you, God, for this wilderness. So I encourage you today, no matter what happens in your life, the things that are unplanned, maybe you're in the wilderness right now. That's just one example. I'm actually, if someone was really looking at my life, you would actually know that I'm in about 4 or 5 wildernesses. Is that a word? Well, I'm in 4 wilderness seasons right now in my life, all simultaneously. And there will probably be videos to come about all the different types of wilderness that I'm in. But you know what's keeping me sane in all these seasons is that I'm focusing on the things that are happening that are actually blessings. And I hope that it encourages you someday. Hope you see this video and maybe you're on the side of the road thinking like I'm thinking and thinking, Lord have mercy, what is happening to my life? But whenever you are in the wilderness, instead of complaining about it, and I'm not saying don't complain, because listen, I complained. When I tell you I was heated, literally, like physically, I was emotionally drained. I had to go home from that day and take a nap. Like I couldn't even talk to anybody. I had to go to sleep. And I had to leave that car for 2 days. That's how draining that situation was for me. But when I got up, we went back and got it and it was still there. And the crazy part is my husband found another YouTube video where he was able to reset my key fob and charge my battery. And that bad boy started like nothing happened. We drove that car all the way home as if it never happened. So I don't know. Maybe God told me I need to rest and sit down somewhere. I'm not sure. But that was a wilderness for me. And you have a wilderness. And what are you doing in your wilderness season, right? In the last episode I made, it was about the children of Israel. So in this episode now, I'm telling you that when you have a wilderness, what are you doing in the wilderness? Are you freaking out? Are you complaining? Or are you trying to find the beauty in it? And I tell you what, that wilderness of that car experience was a whole situation I am still traumatized from, but I made it out. I'm here to tell you about it. I'm sure there'll be another wilderness by the time I even post this video. You might have a wilderness today with your children, with your family, with your illness, with your health, with your finances. But God is in wilderness seasons with you. God is with you all the time. He's always there if you look for him. And if you see the beauty for him, he'll reveal himself to you. So remember that the next time you're in the wilderness. And I hope that you enjoyed this part 2 of what you ought to do in the wilderness.